Yo people, what's going on? It's Coach Jordan here, and today this right here is going to be video one of a series which kind of allows you to set up your fat loss, your maintenance, or your just performance in the gym nutrition. So today in video one of this series, we are going to look at just essentially building essential habits to again improve your nutritional quality. So tip number one is going to be protein per meal, PPM if you like acronyms, and that is just basically going to be looking at a meal and thinking to yourself, how can I improve the protein density of this meal? And you might be watching this video and going, why do I want to eat protein? What are the benefits? Well, essentially if you're female, which again, I'm sure a lot of people watching this will be female because again, as part of SLS, we coach a lot of females, predominantly females, I should say. So again, this is mainly speaking to a female audience, but again, all protein applies to females and males pretty much the same way. So take this whether you're male or female watching. And that is going to be protein per meal and how can we improve the protein density of said meal. So you sit down with your partner, you're planning out your meals for the week, perhaps you're doing your shopping list, or you've just got home from work, you're thinking to yourselves, what should we have for tea tonight? Perhaps it's the weekend, you're thinking, oh, what should we have for dinner tonight? And you then need to go, wow, I know one of my essential habits that I need to hit is consuming a good amount of protein with each meal. So perhaps this is breakfast, perhaps you like cereal, that's fine, you can eat cereal for breakfast. But then you look at the cereal meal and you go, wow, I know I should probably have, say, a protein shake on the side just to satiate me more. Again, the benefits of protein being muscle building, muscle repair. From a nutrient point of view, compared to carbs and fats, it is less likely to be stored as body fat due to its thermogenic properties, which again just means the calories burnt during digestion of said protein. So again, looking at a cereal meal that you might have for breakfast, going, okay, I'll have a protein shake on the side. Perhaps you're used to just doing toast and jam, and now you go, well, I'll pull down the amount of toast I'm eating and I'll do a plate of eggs instead, or some smoked salmon. Again, because you're going to yourself, I'm trying to increase the protein of this meal. I'm not eliminating the toast and jam or the cereal. You're reducing the quantity of it and you're allowing more room for that essential nutrient, which is going to aid muscle growth, tone up, and increase obviously your fat loss goals, essentially, if fat loss is the goal. So it's looking at a meal and going, does it contain meat, fish, eggs, low-fat dairy such as cottage cheese or low-fat Greek yogurt? If not, I'll supplement with a whey protein or a whey protein isolate. And essentially, if you're building your meals around a protein source as your main character of your storyline, which is just your plate, then you are going to, again, be increasing the likelihood of dropping body fat and increasing lean musculature. So that would be tip number one. And again, that is just increasing protein per meal. Secondly, we're going to look at fruit and vegetable quantity per meal as well. So it's very, very, very similar to, again, what I just said about increasing the density and the quantity of a nutrient per meal. Same thing with vegetables and fruit. Can you look at a meal in your day and think to yourself, can I add more fruit or vegetables to this meal? If you're going, oh, well, you know, when I have my lasagna, I don't really have room for broccoli, I'd argue that perhaps you should look at reducing the quantity of the lasagna. I'm sure people will listen to this and give me hate for that, but essentially if the goal is fat loss, you do want to be including more vegetables and perhaps dropping your more energy dense nutrients such as carbohydrates and fats. So perhaps you look at an evening meal and you go, okay, I normally have lasagna. I'm going to reduce the quantity of lasagna I have and I'm going to add a side of broccoli or a side of mushrooms, or I'm going to add mushrooms to spaghetti bolognese just to bulk it out with more vegetables and therefore reduce kind of the carb quantity of the meal itself. So again, it's not that we're going carbs are bad. It's not that we're saying fat is bad. It's essentially we're going that we know in order to create a fat loss scenario, we need to habitually again, reduce the amount of energy we are consuming. So we can do that by obviously filling more of our plate with lower calorie, high nutrient foods such as vegetables, and then pulling down the higher calorie foods such as like a pasta or the sauce that you're adding to a meal. And the same applies to a breakfast. If you're going, oh, Jordan, I would normally eat cereal for breakfast. What should I do instead? I say, well, you can keep the cereal in your breakfast meal. That's fine. If you like eating cereal for breakfast, but I'm looking at that meal from, again, my habit point of view, and I'm going, well, there's no protein there and there's no fruits or vegetables there. Again, I'm sure some people probably don't want to eat vegetables for breakfast. I'm very much of that mindset too, don't worry. So instead of just cutting out the cereal completely, perhaps we look at reducing the quantity of cereal, increasing the fruit quantity. So again, reducing the cereal, perhaps adding a side of fruit, some strawberries, some raspberries, some blueberries, some blackberries, and then also alongside that, adding a protein shake. That way we've covered our essential habits that we're working towards, right? Because we've got our protein with that meal, which would be the protein shake. We've got our fruit with that meal, which would be our fruit or vegetable source. And then we've added in the carbs from the cereal. So again, it's not a case of removing nutrients, it's a case of reducing the quantity of certain nutrients with each meal and increasing the protein and the fruit and vegetable content with each meal. Essentially, that would be kind of tip number 2. Again, very similar to tip number 1, which was protein per meal, and then tip number 2, which is obviously going to be fruit and vegetable quantity per meal. Tip number 3 is a very, very simple one, but it is still one that people really, really struggle with, and that is hydration status. People typically struggle, whether this is down to overconsumption of coffee, overconsumption of tea, overconsumption of 0 calorie or normal calorie energy drinks or caffeinated drinks like a Pepsi, a Coke, a Fanta, etc., etc. People don't drink enough water. Again, whether they are exercising or not exercising. Again, if you are someone who's perhaps getting headaches throughout the day and you're going, oh, you know, it must be this. It's likely that it's probably that you're underhydrating, right? And especially if you're exercising, you do need to be paying specific attention to your hydration status. So again, if your pee is that golden color, then I'd look at addressing how much water you are drinking. So again, how might we do this? Again, I would typically try and advise someone to aim anywhere from 3 to 5 liters. Again, anywhere in that ballpark range is fine. Again, it's like I said, assess your pee color and go from there. But it would be trying to almost subconsciously plan out during your day when it is possible for you to consume fluids. Perhaps you do 3 liters a day, right? So it might be a case of you're gonna wake up, do half a liter, have half a liter with breakfast. You're then gonna go work out and you try and consume in kind of that workout and just after workout another liter. And then all you know after that is you've got perhaps another half a liter with lunch, half a liter with dinner, and then you've covered your hydration for the whole day. It's very, very simple. If you look at covering your fluid intake alongside a meal, and again, you can add kind of sugar-free squash and things like this. Obviously, don't overdo it because you then take away the water content. But again, it's adding your kind of liters of fluid throughout the day alongside a meal. That way you know you're covering your hydration, because if you are drinking it after or just before you start eating, you know that you've perhaps already covered around 1.5 liters just by doing half a liter with every meal. Like I said, you're going to get thirsty during a workout, so that gives you an opportunity to consume another whole liter. And then if you're doing half a liter upon wake, then you've again covered your 3 liter max. Again, these aren't super meticulous things. They are simply just 3 habits that you can look at to, again, improve your weight loss, improve your performance goals, and just improve your general health as a whole. Again, it's just going to be looking at, like I said, tip 1, protein per meal. Tip 2 being fruit and vegetable quantity with every meal. And then tip 3, just consuming enough water in general. So that is video 1 of what hopefully is going to be this very interesting nutritional series. I've been Coach Jordan. I hoped I've helped in some way if you're watching this and perhaps looking for that little step in the right direction. Have a great day. See you soon.